What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about a very cool crossover which is happening in the One Piece trading card game, and it's all based around One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now, I will say, I have started playing this game recently. Now, I'm not as far as I want to be, and I intend playing a lot more of this game as time goes by. However, so far, honestly kind of cool. It's a typical kind of mobile game. There's like 50 different systems they're trying to teach you day one. It's way too complicated, and then sooner or later I'll get my head around it and it will be fine. And it's all very much gacha and trying to get your money from you, etc. But it's basically just, hey, what if we had a cool little sprite work, One Piece mobile gacha RPG thing that traced the whole story of One Piece and let you celebrate all the really cool characters. And like I told you, when I started doing the game on this channel, covering it as like I do, I didn't really know One Piece very well. I've now read the entire manga. I love One Piece. I am well in on One Piece. So, yeah, right up my alley. And the other day I showed you the Sabo. And the Sabo was a V-Jump promo, but it was very much a Treasure Cruise promo. Like, completely Treasure Cruise promo. Because, well, I mean, look, it's clearly, very clearly, using art from the game. It's got the Treasure Cruise stamp. And it's honestly just kind of awesome, frankly. And I'm a very, very big fan of this. And I told you that there was going to be a wider collaboration that was going to be coming between One Piece Treasure Cruise and One Piece TCG. And I also told you I had no idea at the moment what that looked like. And I told you that as soon as we did have more idea what that would look like, I would be here to tell you, well, we do have more idea what that looks like, and I am here to tell you. Now, in terms of One Piece Treasure Cruise itself, there's one thing they've announced so far, and that is, and image on the screen from their Twitter here, there is a login bonus you can get on One Piece Treasure Cruise. Now, it starts on October the 1st, so it hasn't started yet, but basically you can get Luffy. Now this is a reprint, we'll get to the proper card in a minute because this card exists as a physical thing you can go and get. But this is the Luffy from Starter Deck 1, reimagined as a One Piece Treasure Cruise card, reimagined as a gacha character in One Piece Treasure Cruise, which I find kind of cool. And look, as someone who loves the One Piece TCG, that was my, intro to One Piece, the idea of getting this as a nice little gacha character thing just seems kind of awesome, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. That seems kind of awesome. So yeah. Now you can actually see some other characters down there as well. We got Kid, we've got Crocodile, and we got Kaido. They are the characters we're going to be talking about today. They are not the same artwork. We'll deal with those in a moment. But there is a proper crossover on One Piece Treasure Cruise. And like I said a second ago, if you've not tried this yet, honestly, if you've got an interest in the One Piece TCG, I think now might be the time to try it. But there's also a promo pack coming with a bunch of cards that look like One Piece Treasure Cruise cards, like the Luffy, which is probably a good place to start. Now, this is being given out in October, and basically you rock up to standard battles and you can get these things. They are participation souvenirs. All entrants will receive one pack at the end, which is very lovely. And as a side note, I believe this is one of those things, and I collect Japanese promos anyway. Now, generally, I tend to collect numbered Japanese promos, because collecting all the alternate art gets way too awkward, and there's way too many of them. And the Sabo actually is a numbered promo. It's promo 44. But now that I'm playing One Piece Treasure Cruise, and I just love these cards. These are, like, legitimately among my favourite cards they've released so far. I'm a real sucker. When they release promos that look like the game they're promoting and they cross over with a game, no matter what card game it is or what game it is, I am in. I am always in, and I love it. So we've seen the Sabo and the Luffy. They just look like One Piece Treasure Cruise, frankly. They are awesome. So the Luffy is the one from Starter Deck 1. We've seen this one a bunch of times before. It's got Rush, and then Don X2, when attacking, your opponent cannot activate Blocker, which is kind of cool. It's a nice card. It's a card we've seen, honestly, a bunch. Like, it's the original Starter Deck card. Like I say, I think they're all starter deck reprints. I'll be clear about that in a second. But I believe they're starter deck reprints. This is the Luffy from starter deck 1. It's not the first time we've seen this one come back. And there's a very good chance it's not going to be the last time we see this one come back. But it's a cool Luffy that's got Rush and stops your opponent activating blocker. Obviously, stops them activating blocker during this battle. Not forever. That would be far, far, far too good. Now, there is one from each of the first 4 starter decks. I have confirmed that. That is definitely real. So, from starter deck 2, we've got ourselves Captain Eustass Kid. 7 cost, 7,000 power. It's got blocker. And on X1, end of this turn, activate this character. And this is one we've seen a bunch, frankly. This one's been showing up in a bunch of different deck lists really since the very, very, very beginning of the game, because it's a very, very, very cool card. And I like ones. We saw this in Digimon as well for a while. These are cards whereby you can block, but they always become active at the end of your turn. So basically, you get to attack on your turn, then it becomes active, then you get to block, but then it's your turn and you become active again, as you always do at the start of your turn. Then you get to attack, and you basically get to attack every one of your turns and block every one of your opponent's turns, and that's just kind of awesome. Big fan of this card. And once again, you look at the 3 we've seen so far, right? They just look like One Piece Treasure Cruise. And I will say, the art on these cards is extremely busy. And I can completely understand there are going to be some people out there that don't like this. That look at the artwork and go, it's too busy, there's too much going on. It strikes me as a particularly Japanese way of doing art. And I say that because I collect Japanese magazines. Look at the cover of Japanese magazines. They are so much busier than any magazines we have kind of over in the UK. So, yeah. That's where I'm coming from here, ladies and gentlemen. It strikes me very much as the kind of thing you see on the front of Japanese magazines. Because, oh my word, look at them. There we go. Also, for what it's worth, much more fun than British magazines, at least. And, print media in Japan is doing way better than it is over here, which is cool. So, yeah, that's Captain Eustass Kid. We've also got ourselves coming in here a rather lovely Crocodile. That is, of course, your blue one of choice here. And Crocodile is one from starter deck 3. 5 cost, 6,000 power. It's got blocker. And on X1, on block, return a 2 cost or lower character to the bottom of its owner's deck. It's another kind of cool card. Although actually, in starter deck 3, always a big fan of the Law, which also is a blocker, but it's a 1-cost blocker, and I love me some 1-cost blockers. So yeah, another quite cool Crocodile. This one, a lot of potential here. Not one I've seen popping up in quite so many deck lists, but it pops up here and there. It's a decent blocker that also gets to get characters off the board, and obviously that's one of the things that Blue does. Blue is very much a remove characters from the field kind of thing. We've seen this a million times before on a million different blue cards. This is extremely cool. And then we finish off with Kaido, and I love this Kaido, ladies and gentlemen. Kaido, initially when the trading card game started, I was like, oh, this is one of the coolest characters. Then I read One Piece and I'm like, oh, Kaido's one of the coolest characters. If you haven't read it, Kaido's introduction in the manga is one of the coolest intros I've seen. Like the first time Kaido properly appears and they tell his little story, I'm like, oh, that's just cool. So this is the 9 cost, 10,000 power, and on play, Don -5, and you get to KO a character with a cost of 6 or less, and gain Rush. A 10,000 power character with Rush that KOs a 6 cost or less. Yeah, this one has popped up in a bunch of Kaido decks. The early Kaido decks especially were just loving this card. It's a very cool card. And again, artwork-wise, it just looks absolutely stunning. And one of the really cool things is, I'm assuming all of these are going to be kind of available as characters, if they're not already, in One Piece Treasure Cruise. I'm afraid I don't know the game well enough to say that with certainty yet. But that means that we're going to be able to kind of play with these cards in the card game and then go and have some fun with these exact kind of artwork characters in One Piece Treasure Cruise. That just seems fun to me, ladies and gentlemen. That just seems absolutely awesome. One thing that is worth noting, this is another example of a product, a Bandai product coming out at the moment, which has Bandai Card Games logo on it. This seems like a regular thing now, which is just happening kind of all over the place. it seems like they're really pushing, and I like this incidentally, it seems like they're really pushing this whole Bandai card games moniker, which firstly, does that mean we're going to have more things like the events coming up at the end of this year, beginning of next year? And secondly, could there be more Bandai card games coming? I mean, frankly, they've got a lot going on at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, but I don't know. Introducing this logo, and then, you know, it seems kind of like this would be a decent time to then introduce one or two more new card games. No idea if they will, but it's kind of interesting to posit the question. All I know for the moment is I love these One Piece Treasure Cruise promos, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these promos. Tell me if you love them. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Luffy. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.